It's a play that everybody have to collab in to bring some strength into it, because there shouldn't be no separations. Like the family shouldn't be separated from the community. So it's like, if you want to sit up there and have a strong community, you know, you got to sit up there, like the government have to be involved, because you got to understand, it's like they set laws and set precedents. But the thing is that, you know, I just don't want to sit up there and actually like separate that, because once you have separated, it's called division. And so when you look at the community, the neighbors is not being involved no more. Not just the neighbors, the next community. It's like everybody's, because in this day and time, be oppositions. So it's like Booby say, we all have to work together. We cannot sit up there and look at one neighborhood and then close your eyes to the next and saying you're gonna stop gun violence in DC. But the thing is, when you look at what is violence, that's a broad meaning. You know, you look at what's violence, it's like, how can you stop violence? What's the cure of violence? When you're not even sitting up there zero in, what type of violence you gonna stop? It's too many levels. So it's like in DC, what's alarming, what's growing with alarm is the senseless violence. So you got to understand the morality of actually the average person who's committing this senseless violence is because their parents gone.
So for those who don't know, can you break down the difference between violence and senseless violence?
Well, you got police that operates on the offspring of violence. So you got to understand it's a disciplined violence there. So you got some violence gonna be applauded. You know, police create gun violence every day. But they get pat on the wrist because they saying that it's like, it's legislated. It's a pat on, because they saying they protecting themselves. I feel that each individual has that right. But when you look at the growing alarm of DC, we are creating a lot of senseless violence that you look at, it's like, where it's coming from. Why is these youth, or why is these, you know, people, the proprietors who are sitting up there who committing these crimes, why is they sitting up there stooping to this, how can I say, senseless violence, where like a lot of times the average person who does it is a person who's in poverty. So when you look at the criminal aspect of that, if you hungry, you're gonna find your way to eat. If you ain't got a roof over your head, you're gonna find a way to have shelter. So if you don't have clothes on your back, if you see clothes on the clothesline, you're gonna steal that clothes. But you got to understand, that's where the government who actually sit up there and have to do some type of initiative is like, if you sitting up there creating, like the average person who get killed, you spend millions of dollars. You spend millions of dollars to sit up there and clean up the murders off the streets. Not just that, and we need programs that stop people from going to prison. We need programs to stop people going to the mental hospitals. We need programs now, before now, every time that something happens, you know, like which I can't stomach, is like a lot of parents become victims when their kids die. So what I look at is like, why you not being a parent now when your kids die? Now you want to fill in that role of being a parent. Because these young kids will sit up there, if you sit up there and put your foot on their neck, being their mothers and fathers, they're gonna sit up there and actually take heed to their father. That's what they want. A lot of times these outbursts is based on wanting the attention of their parents, wanting the attention of their grandmothers, their brothers, their big homies. But nobody not giving them that attention until they die. Now they sit up there and look at their kids like their kid was the poster child. You know, and that's the thing that everybody have to say. These kids not being poster child because they being disruptive because they want that attention. So you ask me about the community and the government, they have to work together. Because for real, it's like police operating with a gun. That's when gun violence begets gun violence. So how a police got to change their roles and be proactive in the community versus being a threat.
Appreciate that, Jimmy. You remember the question, what's the role of community and government in ending gun violence in the District of Columbia?
I got